Hey, Carm Capriato here with episode 448. So you succeed your business to the third generation. Now what? Now what do you do? My guest, Larry Dragan, will tell you how he's reinvented himself into the automotive industry in his next career.
I usually get called in after the process has been started, or sometimes prior to an attorney taking a case. He would want the vehicle inspected to verify the complaint, to see if the complaint even can be verified.
Welcome, aftermarketers, to Remarkable Results Radio. Listen to learn just one thing from today's episode on your journey to remarkable results. Carm Capriato here, the Aftermarket Podcast guy, and I'm so proud to partner with Apex. You know, even in this technology-driven world, nothing beats face-to-face meetings that I've had at Apex. Now, I know that you'll value what you learn and take away at Apex, which is the reason to get there. Plan now to attend. Get your calendar out. It's the perfect time to commit to go to Apex, November 5th through the 7th, 2019 at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas. And you got to book your flight and your room, so get started. Now, if you earn your living in the aftermarket, Apex is for you, the biggest of its kind. And if you're a technician, you need to check out Mobility Garage. For more information, visit aapexshow.com, and I hope to see you there. You know, I believe it's time you shared your love for the Remarkable Results Radio podcast. Now, I hear from so many, and they say this: where have you been? Why is it that it took so long for me to find this podcast? I'm going to tell my friends. I love it. So much to learn, and on and on and on. Now, it really makes me feel so proud of the work we've done as a collective industry to tell the stories of the aftermarket so others can learn and all ships rise. There's a strong wave of continual improvement going on in the industry, and I'd like to think that the podcast has had something to do with building that momentum. Hey, by the way, find the talking points for this episode at remarkableresults.biz/E448. So you've transitioned your business to your son. What do you do now? Get in his way or move on to something else? I'm here with Larry Dragan. He's the second generation owner of Stan's Garage, founded in 1941, Dearborn Heights, Michigan. Larry has over 40 years of experience in the automotive industry and still maintains his ASE certifications in auto and heavy-duty truck. Larry started working for Lemon Law attorneys as their expert witness and continues to this day. Learn what life after shop ownership is like as a Lemon Law expert witness, certified mediator, and appraiser. Here's Larry Dragan. Hey, a warm welcome to Larry Dragan, former shop owner of Stan's Garage. And am I right that it's your son's shop now?
Yeah, that is correct. My son took over operations about 3 years ago.
How cool is that? You were probably very proud of that moment.
Oh, absolutely. It's something that we've been preparing our exit plan for about 6 years now, getting him ready to take over and run. So.
And how long ago was that?
It was in July of 2016.
Okay.
When he took over.
All right. So you're hovering over him a little bit, kind of watching him, although I know you're in Florida now and your place is up in Michigan.
That is correct, yeah. Yeah, I check in with him, 3 or 4 days a week, and I'm always checking the numbers. And, he's been trained well, and he's doing an awesome job. I'm very proud of him.
Wonderful. Glad to see the family business moving into the next generation. Well, so why are you here? Well, you've really never decided to just stop and do nothing.
That's absolutely correct.
And it goes on and on. The more I hear from, I've interviewed so many people. I says, well, what are you doing now? Well, I didn't quit, and I'm giving back. I'm doing things. I'm having fun. I've got great hobbies, but I kept, my toe, if you will, in the water. Really, what I want to talk about is a couple of things that you're doing. Of course, you are an international automotive appraiser, which is really cool. We can hear about that. And you're an expert witness for what, the Lemon Law?
Yeah, I work for Lemon Law attorneys across the country as their expert witness.
I find that fascinating.
Oh, it's really interesting. It's keeps me active in the automotive industry and keeps me hands-on touching cars.
So the Lemon Law, there's a lot of us out there that know people, or they've approached us as shop owners and said, hey, I'm really unhappy with my car. What do you think I should do? Do they reach out to the state, to the dealership, to an attorney? I mean, how's the process start?
The process usually starts, of course, you're giving your dealer the opportunity to repair the vehicle and fix your problem. If you can't, then every state has different rules and regulations on the lemon law. Many of them are, most of them, I should say, are 3 attempts for the same repair or 30 plus days out of service.
When do you get called in?
I usually get called in after the process has been started, or sometimes prior to an attorney taking the case. He would want the vehicle inspected to verify the complaint, to see if the complaint even can be verified. You
know, what's so interesting is you say when the attorney takes the case, that means how many attempts at the dealership to get it right? Usually 4, 5, 6, 7. Most people are very patient with the dealer, but everybody's time comes to, an end where they need either vehicle replaced or repaired, one of the two. I find it fascinating that it would take 6 or 7 times, and people are so patient. Why do you think people are so patient? They want a vehicle that's reliable. They've just paid a lot of money for a vehicle, and going new vehicle, they expect something they're not going to have to drop off for service and be repaired. People take pride in their vehicles. It's part of their livelihood. Yeah, but Larry, about the 6th or 7th time, how do you get that far? I mean, wouldn't you think that 3 attempts to figure out what's wrong with my car is enough? I agree. 3 attempts should be enough to fix and verify any kind of complaint. So when dealers continue to be in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th time, what's your experience there? Have they just kind of thrown their hands up and given up, and they're just willing to say yes to the customer because the customer needs to have some kind of, I don't know, there's no closure because they're not getting it right? On all your experience, why does this go on that far? In my opinion, a lot of the times vehicles do not get repaired at the dealer due to the limitation of the technician, the amount of time he'll put into trying to verify the complaint. Technicians get paid by flat hour, like we all know. They're going to get paid a quarter of an hour, maybe a half an hour to diagnose this problem. I've been on vehicles 3 or 4 hours driving them, trying to duplicate the customer's driving conditions to get this complaint found. A technician doesn't have that time to put into it because he's not getting paid for it. Part of the reason you'll see can't verify a complaint on a lot of repair orders that I see from the dealer is, I get it. They're not going to spend 3 or 4 hours chasing down something that they may never find and get paid for. So the can't verify complaint, the tech at the dealership, they just stop after so much time because they know they're not getting paid. Absolutely. In my opinion, it is. I owned my shop for 38 years, and it's understood why they have to stop at a certain point is because they have 7 or 8 more vehicles in their rack that they can get paid to repair. They give it a try, but they just don't follow through all the way to the end. So the dealership is seeing the car for the 4th time. Let's just pick a number, a 4th time. And they keep getting this same, we don't know what's wrong, we can't fix it. Doesn't it just behoove the dealership and the brand that they're selling to dig as deep as they can and to go to a tech and says, we're going to pay you, just get this fixed? Why doesn't that happen? I don't know why that doesn't happen. I started wrenching when I was 18, 19 years old with my shop. And to me, it's a personal pride to be able to say, hey, I fixed this thing. It took me 4 hours, but I found it and I fixed it. But were you being paid or not? I was not being paid. Of course, I was a shop owner. Indirectly, I was getting paid. Indirectly, I was getting paid, but I do understand why they put a time limit on it. I would think there's other ways that in my shop, we used to call the customer and say, hey, I live an hour and a half away. Is it right if I drive your vehicle both ways, up and back, to help verify the complaint? I think if the dealer did, the service manager or technician or somebody may live far enough away where they can get this vehicle to, driven far enough to find this complaint. Okay, let's understand your role. I do know one thing is that as an expert witness, you're hired by the owner of the vehicle. Am I right? That is correct. But are you also involved in trying to troubleshoot it on your own so that you can discover what the real problem is and attempt to resolve it and give them their whole car back?
I'm never paid to diagnose the vehicle. My primary role in the process is to verify the complaint. That is the complaint there? Is it present? When does it happen? And of course, as much documentation as I can take, pictures, video, or whatever the case may be.
Let's talk about one of the cases that you sent me, and that was the vehicle complaint of the hard pull left at highway speeds with a clunk in the left front. So in that particular case, when you were on this case, you just verified it was right. So you were the second opinion.
Well, actually, probably not just a second opinion. I'm sure the dealership had their technicians check it and their, manufacturer's rep check it. On that particular case, the vehicle checked out visibly fine. Even when I put it on the alignment machine, the alignment was still correct. The tire pressures were all good. I nearly drove that vehicle probably about 3 hours. In driving it locally, in which most technicians would do, would take it down side streets, service drives, without actually getting on a highway, I would have never found it. I had to get it on the highway for 30 minutes or so before the actually dangerous pulling lane change would occur.
It's amazing what you wrote to me. I mean, a real heavy, long couple of paragraphs on exactly what you did. I was pretty impressed with the depth you went into discovering the problem that the dealership wasn't able to. And then ultimately, the backstory is that they finally said, hey, I'm going lemon law?
Correct. That one was brought to us. That one the case had already been filed with the lemon law attorney already by the time I have seen that. When I inspected the vehicle, I had all the past service records, everything that they did on the vehicle. That's part of my exploratory. I always reread all the invoices that were produced by the dealership to get a feel of what they looked for, what they found, what the extent they went to do. And it puts me in the right direction, along with the conversation with the customer, of course. When does this happen?
Okay, so you went through all of that. You discovered that the complaint of the customer, the owner of the car, was legit.
That is correct.
With more than 2,500 exhibiting companies from around the world, Apex is my favorite place to see, touch, and compare new products. It's also the place to meet your existing suppliers and develop new partnerships. Even though it's big, the Apex Trade Show is well organized and easy to navigate. Just plan to have an agenda and wear comfy shoes, as there are so many cool products, technologies, and product demos, and people to see in a very short period of time. And while you're there, you'll also want to participate in the excellent training offered at Apex. It's a busy 3 days, but well worth your time and investment. Mark your calendar now to attend Apex 2019. It's November 5th through 7th at the Sands Expo in Las Vegas. To learn more, visit aapexshow.com. So you've done all that. You've written a report, sent it to the attorney. Now you're in court. You an expert witness in a jury trial or some kind of trial?
Yes, if they go to jury, yes. If they go to trial, definitely. I'm the expert witness all the way through. They always start with depositions first. Of course, I have to take my deposition, report my findings, and of course, the customer also has to go through depositions. Most lemon law cases don't end up in court. Someplace along the line, through the mediation between the two attorneys, they settle the case. Even though, if they do go to trial, I would be the one on the stand testifying to what I had found. Okay,
I find it interesting. Most lemon law issues don't end up in court. So as an expert witness, what do you go to court for?
If the two sides can't come to an agreement or a settlement, the case will be heard in front of a jury in the court of the United States. Okay,
and what you're saying is then it starts from scratch, and then you become that expert witness, and you explain everything, and the jury finally decides, can they get rid of the car and get a new one?
Correct.
Interesting. You do any other kind of arbitration as an expert witness?
I recently got myself certified as a mediator umpire which means I can settle cases between two insurance companies or insurance company and an owner in a collision type of case, or a flood or any other damage to the vehicle. I am now certified as a mediator. They call them umpires. Insurance companies call them umpires. The court calls them mediators.
So what does it take to do something like that?
It's my expertise in the industry. The International Automotive Appraisers Association is the association that automotive appraisers belong to. And part of this process is through the training that I received through the IAAA.
Okay. So you just basically put your hand up. You know someone in the industry. How would someone who's listening to this say, hey, I'd love to do something like that? How does it work?
The credentials to being able to be a mediator, number one, you have to know how to do car appraisals. You have to be involved in the industry. Your car knowledge is second to none. They only take the best of the best.
I got it. And so you're in that league, and of course your resume proves that.
Thank you.
You also brought another case to my mind here about oil running down the windshield, blocking the vision of the vehicle, of the driver.
Yeah, this was a pretty interesting case. It was pretty simple on my part. The vehicle was sent to us by the attorney firm. I should say sent to me by the attorney firm. There was about a 2-inch wide oil running from the rearview mirror all the way down the length to the top of the dashboard, the whole length of the windshield. Customers had it to the dealer 4 or 5 times, if I remember correctly. Couldn't come up with the fix for the problem. Pretty simple on my part. Did the visual inspection, took my pictures, definitely put my finger into it. It was definitely an oil substance. One of the things that I always do is when I do the research on complaints and cases, I always run the vehicle and see what's out in the forum, see what's out in technical service bulletins, see if there's any recalls. I do the background work. Running the background on this vehicle, I found a TSB that was published about 6 months prior that addressed this problem to the T. It was a fix for this problem. How the technicians didn't go to the TSB at the dealer to verify this complaint, I never understand.
That's a perfect solution. I mean, hello, is what's up there, oak, or is it actually gray cells? TSBs, right? You're telling me that TSBs are like prime number one.
Exactly. When I owned the shop, every one of the technicians were trained they had a drivability issue or a weird electrical issue, to go right to the TSBs. It saves hours and hours of chasing your tail trying to fix something when there's already it's not a recall, it's a technical service bullet. It's something that's a known issue with that vehicle. And you save yourself a lot of, wasted time diagnosing something if you can catch something on a TSB that's out there, and that's the reason for them.
Unbelievable. Now, I'm curious, what was the problem on that car?
The problem with that car was something in the oil-filled rearview mirror was leaking through the mirror down the shaft, and then, of course, running all the way down the windshield. It was not coming prior or above the rearview mirror at all. It was running right from the rearview mirror. It was a defective rearview mirror. Most cases, I do not see the end result unless it goes to trial. Was this a buyback? Was this a diminished value? I don't know how they settled the claim. I'm usually never told how they settle.
Well, I can't believe you'd have diminished value on the vehicle just because you have to put a new rearview mirror.
As I said, I'm not sure how the mediation went or how they ended up settling that.
All right. So wait a minute here. You're doing all this work and you end up, you never know how it settles. Doesn't that drive you nuts?
I know a few of them. People will send me letters and thank me and, send communications or would follow up the phone call thanking me for my help. And, they'll tell me how everything went. Or if it goes to jury trial, of course I know because I'm there, when the judgment comes down. But on this case, I never heard another thing about it. The car either got bought back or they came to some kind of a cash settlement. I don't know.
Miss the industry in the thick of it each and every day?
Oh, I do. I miss it. I miss it a lot. I'm staying active in the industry. But I still have close ties with my son, and keep tabs on him. And he's 31 years old now, and he's still green. Yet, even though sometimes he thinks he knows it all, and
That's okay. That's okay. If you're there to guide him, and he's got Dad kind of sitting there over his left shoulder, that's a good thing.
Absolutely, and he feels free to call me anytime, and he has morning, noon, or night. And needs help with something. So.
Well, as a 38-year veteran of the industry, what do you, in talking to your son all the time and staying as connected as you are, what do you see that are a few challenges that are going on inside of our industry?
Just like everybody's talking about, the technician shortage is huge to this industry. Something that Scott and I sat and talked about before he actually took over the shop was, what are you going to do in 10 or 15 years? Most technicians that are seasoned and in the industry are between 45 and 55 years old. 10 more years, these guys are all going to be gone. What's your plan? How are you going to fill the gap on the technicians you need?
And what did he say to you?
He's kind of not sure how to do it. But again, I've been in business 38 years. I know we have to grow our own. He's got a young tech now that's like 24 years old, pretty green, but he's going to be a good tech. So you've got to educate him, promote him. You got to send him to school and hopefully pay him well enough where he doesn't ever leave. The pay's not always the main factor of technicians staying. It's, they want to feel appreciated. I constantly tell him, put a note in the guy's check. Hey, you did a great job, and mention blah, 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 blah on a vehicle or whatever. Just, the people want to be appreciated for what they do.
How true. You summed it up so well. I appreciate that. Well, I learned a lot about lemon law. And one other thing about the appraiser thing. I mean, do you get called out to do appraisals?
Oh, absolutely. I get called through my website and through the International Automotive Appraisers Association to do car appraisals, do pre-purchase inspections, along with doing the lemon law cases and stuff. It keeps me active. So, any
auction that you're going to in Florida this year?
I'm actually heading over to the West Palm auction for Barrett-Jackson, April 14th, 15th, 16th.
Will you have a specific role, or are you just going to be there observing?
Our association likes to have X amount of appraisers on site. We kind of use it as our convention type. We have meetings and trainings at Mecum and Barrett-Jackson. We just had our annual convention at Scottsdale, Barrett-Jackson. So, yes, if there's a need, I'll do some appraisals. If not, I just love hanging out, love seeing the cars. And
so does it help you to be an observer when that gavel goes down, Larry, to say in the back of your head, whoa, that was a lot of money for that car?
Well, yeah, and it's really interesting because you'll see somebody that done a pre-purchase cost evaluation on the car, and let's just pick a number at $50,000, and you see two guys with collectors who have hundreds of cars in their collection. They're bidding against this car and get this car up to $250,000, $300,000 because they want it. When the value is only $50,000 or $60,000, but they want the car. It's just a whole different side of the industry that I was never involved with. I never had time to build cars, race cars, or restore a classic car frame up. That's so time involved. And I was busy running my business, growing my business. And, I have a 73 Javelin of my own. That's a rare car, but to get involved and actually see the people that do the restoration is it's awesome to see.
I know they're craftsmen, artisans. If that's the right or the wrong word, because they're so meticulous. In the case of the $250,000 car, as an example, because the collector wanted it, the car's appraised for $50,000. Would that 250 number bump that 50 up at all, or is it just an anomaly? It's sitting over here.
It bumps the price. When I'm doing an appraisal on the vehicle, you have to look at like kind and of vehicles. Is it a 1 of 6 or is it a 1 of 50,000 makes a difference on its value. What the person paid for it, that'll help the whole market, because part of doing appraisals, I have to do references. So when I'm appraising a vehicle, I have to give references to how I came up to my number. And if I logged onto the Barrett-Jackson auction and saw this car at $250,000, that influences what I will write that appraisal for.
Are you paid handsomely for that?
Oh, we get paid pretty well.
Okay, cool. Hey, I so enjoyed this. We talked about lemon law. We talked about appraisals. We talked about pre-car inspections. We talked about the fact that you worked 38 years in the business and you're still going strong with so many different things that you're doing in the automotive. Congrats to you for staying so busy.
Thanks, Carm.
Thanks for being on board to listen and learn from the premier automotive aftermarket podcast. Until next time.